Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode mystical number 108 of the Strip Poker Night at the Inventory podcast. I am your regular host, SPNanon, here with my always faithful, always loyal, returning co-host, Nord. Say hi.
Hello, it's me, Nord, made from refurbished parts from an old Mark 14 Spitfire.
Yes, and we have a brand new guest as well, a relatively new dev. They also are, and new in the social server, new in all aspects. So it's really great to have them on and ingratiate them into the community in this way as well. I hope he enjoys this time here on the podcast. Nord, if you would like to introduce him.
We have a new guest? Let's check it out. Granddad! Flintstones? Oh, Granddad. Granddad? What the fuck? Granddad? Granddad? What the shit? Granddad.
Thanks for having me.
Seven Granddad, with that introduction, would you like to introduce yourself? Please explain the character you've made that we will be talking about actually in more detail in the next episode. But by all means, you can say a little bit about her now as well, and just how you discovered the game and what you hope to do with her and hope to accomplish, and why you decided to come on the podcast as well. Just everything involving your time here.
Thank you, SPNanon. My name is Seven Granddad, as Nord has recreated for us. The character I've made is actually DJ Cadence from Club Penguin. What an unorthodox choice.
It's all right. I would have said so if you didn't.
Yeah, it's even I understand, but at the same time, it's not the first unorthodox choice and won't be the last either.
If you're unfamiliar, she literally is a penguin in most respects. Again, we'll get into more detail next time. But yeah, she, with a couple of compromises taken on the premise there to get her in the game. But by and large, there's a lot of penguin-y aspects to her still. But please continue with your self-introduction.
Okay, I discovered this game actually about 13 months ago to the day, actually. I was really big into the original two Poker Night at the Inventory games by Telltale. And being who I am, I inevitably decided maybe, just maybe, there's Rule 34 of this. I literally Googled Poker Night at the Inventory Rule 34, and SPNatI was the first choice. Played around with it, created my character to as much as I could, discovered that it's a lot more than just 4 characters, it's literally loads and loads of them. Quickly fell in love with the premise. Fast forward about like 4 or 5 months, I decided that since they're letting pretty much anyone add whatever character they want within reason, I opted to test how far within reason goes and haven't pushed it over the edge with the penguin.
Definitely a weird choice, but I mean, I think we were all fairly receptive. I don't remember any big firestorm over your choice.
You were all very receptive. Like, I expected to have the door slammed in my face. Not only did you welcome me into the community, you all actually supported me as long as, the character was good. You let me hang out regardless. And now that the character's in, I'm happy to see the mostly positive reception from developers and players alike.
That's the thing. If a character's good, you can get away with a lot. I specifically remember you were like pitching the idea of making Cadence, and I was there, and my initial reaction was, I'm not too sure about that, but then you elaborated on it a bit more, and I was like, yeah, I fuck with this, go ahead. Go do crazy things.
Yeah, it was actually, I think one of the first messages I ever sent was asking for clarity on what one of the tags meant, and SPNanon was actually the very first person to respond, asking me what character I planned on making.
It's not supposed to be a terrifying question.
Yeah, that is a very terrifying question, especially because I knew the answer. But I decided not to beat around the bush, just bite the bullet, and if it was too weird for SPNatI, it was too weird for SPNatI, but no. Like, eventually, Nord, you also joined in. I still remember the exact message. It was a pop-off king, which actually inspired me to not just continue with the project, but take it as seriously as I could. So, yeah, the king certainly popped off.
It's you know what? Any project that's approached with that level of earnestness and diligence, I feel is at least worth a look. Right? You want to hear them out. You want to let them cook. Because even if it's like weird and bad, first of all, we've already had a lot of weird and bad submissions, and two, like at least they're trying something. This game's got like 400 characters. If a couple of them are weird and bad, it's not the end of the world. It's just funny. You can dunk on them.
And then the absolute funniest thing is that you actually put in
Hashtag Anili's thread just randomly popping up back in the server for some reason. But go ahead, Nor.
The craziest, the funniest thing is, because you put in effort and actually considered all of your development decisions, Cadence has turned out pretty well, in my opinion. We'll obviously talk more about her at length in the next episode, but just for now, I think it's a decent showing for your first character being such an out there pick. And having a lot of things you had to make concessions on, obviously.
I'm glad you just talk to other developers in general and are a presence in the server that can be reached. A lot of new developers, they're still kind of quiet and keep to themselves. I do have 2 questions for you before we move on. The first is when you say you're going to look up Rule 34 of Poker Night at the Inventory, did you mean that in a general sense of other characters in that setting, or did you want to see Heavy making out with Strong Bad?
I didn't know what I wanted to see. I just wanted to know if it existed.
Okay.
And instead, I found out that this game existed.
Sometimes you just have the morbid curiosity.
It's a weird thing I do. Whenever I find a new thing, I think, okay, what has the fandom done? And then I let the internet answer that. Even if I'm not into it, it's a weird thing I do.
I'm sure a lot of us can relate.
Were you expecting this many anime girls?
Not quite so much, but I definitely was expecting some given the premise. Like, as soon as I saw like the first 15, I was like, okay, if I scroll down, I'm probably going to see a few more. It's a bit more than a few more.
Are you a weeb by any chance?
Depends on who you ask. If you ask anyone who isn't a weeb, yes, I am a weeb. If you ask anyone who self-identifies as a weeb, then I am definitely not even close.
My other question for you actually was, why is your name and profile 7 Granddad?
I did not expect to be a significant member of the community. This is literally just the alt I use for things I don't want to associate with my real professional career. So,
what are you ashamed of?
And it turns out this is almost unironically the most professional thing I've done so far. So go figure.
Okay, well, is there anything else you'd like to say about yourself before we move on?
I think I've said just about everything I need to at the moment.
Okay, well, we do have some catch-up to do. In fact, this whole episode is going to be a bit of catch-up. Where, we tend to take a bit of a holiday break, or at least Solitaire does, so the episodes can come out a little bit slower over the new year. So we actually have some holidays to go over. Holidays plural. We've been playing catch up this whole time, and there's the Christmas event has come and gone for 2024. Go figure. This episode's probably going to come out in March or April, so just in time. And the Valentine's event as well has come and gone, and there were alt skins for both of those. So we're going to cover those this time. Relatively quick for each one, but a number to get through. We're also going to talk about the resort that came and went in February. And finally, we have a main roster edition, and that is going to end things off. But before we do any of that, real quick, since it has been a while, we skipped it last time, it's time to do the host Shilling Corner. This is where the two hosts, me and Nord, talk about what we've been working on. Mostly me, because Nord's stuff is always in the agenda anyway, because he's always making new characters and new alt costumes and things. You're going to hear about some of them today, as usual. But I, for one, have mostly been writing lines and failing that playing video games. So it's been a little bit slow for me. I need to get back in the saddle more and more and work on those epilogues. But I did do some art stuff. I'll tell you exactly what I did, and you're not going to believe that I did them. I updated / retooled one of Maya's many butt poses, specifically 5 butt spread, no number attached, and also 7 butt spread by extension. It now uses a 3/4 view. I don't have the old one on hand because I don't keep old art. Solitaire can probably find it. Because the original butt spread was the first one I ever did, and it was kind of an awkward angle, and it looked weird, and I thought this one looked better. And she needed something a little more dynamic, and with a nicer, more curious, more earnest expression. So I hope you really enjoy that. I consider it to be a big improvement. Also, there's one other butt-related pose, go figure, for Maya, which I have just made. It's not in the game yet. It will be when this episode comes out. Maya has a pose where she fingers her own butt during her forfeit a little bit, if you've ever noticed. So I added a pose, actually by suggestion, where Yūrei does the same when it's their dual forfeit, Yūrei in Maya's slot. So yeah, that's gonna be in the game now. And again, this was actually a suggestion from a user on the server who's a big fan of Maya and Yūrei. I appreciate getting those kinds of suggestions for additional content, because I was like, yeah, I could throw that in there. That dual forfeit is kind of old and it doesn't have that many poses. So the more the merrier. That's what I've been working on, aside from the endless treadmill of generic and targeted lines. Nor, what have you been working on that's kind of a miscellaneous topic?
Yeah, I've been working on a lot of stuff. Biggest thing within the last week or so we'll talk about in a far future episode, but I just decided to rework Saki Yoshida's art. Not too much of an upgrade. Well, it may not seem like too much of an upgrade at first glance, but I did have to redo every single one of her poses, and it's now like version 4 of this Ship of Theseus character. And then just last night I posted her new epilogue, which it's a joint epilogue with Mari Setugaya, but we'll go into more detail about it in the future, as I said.
That's the girl from Emergence, if you're not familiar.
Yep.
We are going to talk about that update in full, as well as the epilogue in a future episode.
Something I don't think I've told many people is that part of the very, I guess you could say, selfish reason that I even went through with updating her art is entirely so that I can give her new content, including like cross-character interactions. So naturally, one of the first things I did was have my own original character, Yuzuki, give Saki a hug. So yeah, that was fun. Apart from that, I also finally got out of the way a dual forfeit between Yūrei and Juno from Overwatch. That's been in the work for a couple of months now with Namasp's help, obviously for his side of the writing. I handled all of the technical aspects because I'm generally more... I've made too many dual forfeits at this point, so I know how to set them up, and I know how to handle all of the tags preemptively so that our keeper of the tags doesn't have another miniature heart attack realizing that some of the tags are, wrong. Apart from that, I've just been getting a lot of banter done as usual, especially with some of our newer writers, like Nebur working on Momo. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, that's about it for me.
How does Nadeshiko feel about this development?
Actually, Namas specifically said if Nadeshiko and Juno are both there, Nadeshiko should take priority, so that's what happens. She never has to find out.
They can duel for his heart. Who would win?
New epilogue where I have to figure out how to script an entire card game episode. I remember hearing that, like, in one of the later Yu-Gi-Oh! Seasons, the writers just had trouble figuring out how to write duels for the protagonist's deck because it was so strong it could just win in 2 turns, which is about standard for modern Yu-Gi-Oh!
Let's not go down this road any further. Let's just get into another character and another costume you've made. More content from Nord, as usual. As I said before, 2 holidays have come and gone as we've struggled to get back into a full pace here. And the first was the Christmas event, famous for having Santa Jura and a bunch of other characters, I guess. It was a bit on the quieter side. I think people are a little bit less interested in Christmas because it feels like there's less to do. A lot of it is just like Santa costumes and Santa dresses, such as the 2 that we're going to talk about today. People mostly dressing up as Santa. But Nord made one of them. He made a Christmas alt for Zeke and Pandoria, which you see here. And I guess Pandoria has more of an elf thing going on, which makes sense. Santa's little helper. I think this comes from promotional art as well, right? Kind of like their swimsuits.
No, the swimsuits were an in-game costume you can get. This one, as far as I can tell, is just from loosely inspired by fan art where Pandoria is wearing a similar thing to Zeke. This blue dress and all is just entirely made up by me so that it stands out in the sea of greens and reds that you normally see. Not many characters have like blue costumes for Christmas apart from the only one that comes to mind is what's the name of the mother from Honey Pop?
Jessie.
Jessie has a white dress, but yeah.
I like how you introduced her as the mother. I would have gone with porn star.
True.
Speaking of Saki Yoshida.
No. But yeah, I just wanted to give them a costume because I felt it would be fun to do 2 like different color sets. What did the 2 of you think?
Well, before we get into it, I'm going to point out that Pandoria's hands are not on her hips in this selected pose.
You know, I thought I had already fixed it, and then I guess I just forgot.
But yeah, this is we're gonna try to go a little bit faster than with full-on characters. But 7 Granddad, what did you think of this alt costume, this Christmas costume for Zeke and Pandoria?
I really liked it, actually. I loved the hoodie you gave Zeke to differentiate it from all the other Santa-esque uniforms, and I especially love Pandoria's blue outfit contrasting with most of the roster's red and green. Definitely makes it stand out amongst a sea of literal, just Santa outfits. Because, like we said, there is a lot of those on the SPNatI roster. And the 2 pictures Nord just brought up, the suspenders were a nice touch for Zeke. He can manage to pull them off very well. I thought I had more to say about that. I guess I really don't, but...
No, it's fine.
Did you run out of notes already?
Not notes in general, just for the costumes.
I mean, if there's not a lot to criticize, then there's not a lot to say.
Yeah, there's not really much criticism I have for any of these. You knocked it out of the park with these outfits.
I mean, yeah, if it's an old skin, you don't have to go too in depth.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything else to say. we can move on to Nord's personal takes on this and input maybe some of the process that he went through.
I don't have that much to say because I did this like 4 months ago now. Just know that Pandoria is full of holiday spirit, and holiday spirit is Zeke's nickname.
Man, we've got the sleepover event coming back up already in a couple months. Are they going to be a part of that?
I do kind of want to give them a sleepover one. I just don't have any idea of what that would entail costume-wise. Not many people draw them in unique outfits as such. I would have to just invent something with my mind.
Yeah, I'm usually not a big fan of alt costumes that do that. I think they should kind of, you should be more restrained and pick something that has something to do with the actual source material in terms of like being a character showcase. Which, I mean, this does, at least with Zeke's side of things. Let's see. I was impressed overall just with this being a very good example of an costume. The second you pick them even, they have immediate lines for that alt skin. You can tell they're different and they're Christmas themed. And that continues with a lot of their stripping sequences. I like how you didn't settle for just the default Santa hat on either of them. I guess you did have to make the hood, because that is in the promo art. But, I mean, even I just kind of went with a slightly edited default Santa Kisekai hat. The stripping poses, I don't know if you just didn't want to do them, because they are the most intensive, but it did feel like they were a little bit skimmed over. They or kind of brushed past. I think it was one of those cases where they just kind of reach and take them off very quickly, or they kind of disappear. Again, it's been a while for me as well when I played them. Let's see. And on the subject of the art, I think Zeke's coat looks a little flat, especially like in the midsection. There should be a little bit more shading there. It looks almost like made of cheap material or kind of damp.
I mean, that would fit given they're broke poor all the time.
Are they? He's completely cut off from the royal funds.
He wears an eye patch because he can't afford a second contact lens to give him another grey eye. Actual canon.
I'll see if I find the pose for it. You probably know. It's the one where he has a bit of an insane, chuny look in his eye. I said those are always very funny, and they, as a pair, are just very consistently entertaining, although I noticed on a repeat playthrough with them, their generics, yeah, that's the one, their generics can feel a little samey on a repeat playthrough. Probably, it was like, looking for turters and stuff like that, probably because it's like the big, like, sort of defining line and part of the sequence that's meant to always play. So you get like the full experience of them the first time around, but it means if you play them again, like Komi-san kind of has this problem too. There isn't really like any variations on those lines, so they can start to feel samey. Finally, I'd like to mention this is something that goes for everyone on the forfeit sequence. A little more breathing, a little bit more silence, a little more vocalizations. I think that goes a long way. Especially these two, right? You don't need that much dialogue. You just have them fucking half the time anyway. You just let the visuals do all the work.
I'll make a note of that. But I think we've talked enough about these two.
Yes, let's move on to the second of the two new 2024 Christmas event costumes, which was Kyouko Toushino, the girl from Yūrei. Lil David appeared on, I think, 105 and 106 not too long ago, talking about Kyoko's hitting the main roster, as well as, I think, one of her alt skins as well. And here she comes waltzing in with another one. Again, a more standard Santa hat, Santa dress kind of thing, but he always puts in a lot of effort with the actual execution and art and dialogue of these alt skins and Kyouko in general. And this was very nice. Seven Granddad, what was your play experience with Kyouko? In fact, let me get the formal alt skin names of these two. What are they? Do you know off the top of your head, either of you?
Zeke's one was Santanator's holiday help. Kyouko's is just Santa suit.
Well, there you go. 7 Granddad, what was your play experience with her?
Well, the second I clicked her on her Santa suit, she greeted me with Merry Christmas in March, which is a reference to the fact we have taken ages to get to the Christmas outfits that are new, which I thought that was cute. That was funny. Nice little Easter egg for those who are able to play the offline version with all the outfits unlocked all year round.
That's pretty old tech, but I noticed that as well. It's pretty funny. I try to do that with alt skins too sometimes.
Yeah. The mistletoe on the bra was a really cute touch. Definitely liked that. Loved the dialogue, but like you said, it's another Santa outfit, which nothing wrong with that. But for new devs, if you're looking to add a Christmas attire for one of your characters, maybe you could try something new, like elves, reindeer, even an ugly Christmas sweater would be fitting for the season. It's SPNatI. It's coming off anyways, so why not have something cute to hook us with whenever we start up. But besides that aside, really nice execution with the Santa dress. Love her lines, especially the one I mentioned. Yeah, Kyouko is just a cute character all around. I love the absolute goblin energy she has, even outside of Christmas, but for the Christmas outfit in particular, yeah, she had a bit of to say about that, and especially that we were doing this in March.
Elf gremlin energy, maybe.
Yeah, elf gremlin.
Christmas
Took the words right out of my mouth, spnanon.
Nord, what did you think?
I have a bit of development lore for this outfit, and that's knowing that David bought a pair of mittens just so that he would have a reference for how to draw her gloves as being actual mittens. And I know that he had to go through it on a pose-by-pose basis.
That's true. It's probably the biggest bit of visual flair to the whole thing was that she's actually in mittens, which are not a Kisekai default, I believe, in any regard. So yeah, he had to fuse all of her fingers together in post.
And it's any wonder that she loses the mittens immediately.
Yeah, that tends to happen with stuff that's annoying.
SPNatI development tip: if something is really annoying to pose with, you have them get rid of it early. I thought this was a very cute outfit. I didn't actually. I was going by my memory of having played this back during Christmas, and to be honest, I just skimmed through the character editor to see her stages again to remind myself. I've got a screenshot here that shows Merry Christmas in March, as you mentioned. David would be one to pay attention to details like that with his costumes, especially because he puts a lot more... It feels like he puts a lot of effort into all of these costumes he's giving Kyouko. So even though it seems a bit standard when you compare it with all the other Christmas costumes already in the game, it does definitely feel like one of the highest effort attempts to put one in, if that makes sense.
Makes total sense to me.
My thoughts are thus. Yeah, the mitten work is very nice. I must admit, when she took off her gloves, she makes a little joke about her mittens. She makes a little joke about how these gloves are hiding horrible injuries on her hands. I didn't get it at first. It's a joke about the other Kyouko, who has unfortunately been kind of stagnant since making it to main. I guess just a little bit out of sight, out of mind. She had a nice little flirty bra strip pose as well, and a little. There's a line about giving a little peek. I'm going off of some older memories as well. I'm not sure exactly what that refers to. I might have to search back through. Excuse my lack of preparation. I think it may be related to her hair kind of covering up her boobs. Whatever I saw was very good, and you should definitely play it for Christmas 2025, so we can finally refresh ourselves. Sorry for taking so long.
Play it in June for just maximum comedy. Play it during the summer event.
Maybe we should call it the swimsuit event to be Southern Hemisphere inclusive.
Perhaps.
Anyway, the last thing I want to say is something that personally annoys me is that she has different select screen poses as you cycle through the alt outfits. It's not really a sin, but I like it more where it's like a video game character, like spin the model around and you change the clothes, but the pose stays exactly the same. I like that, and I went through a lot of effort to make sure it was more or less seamless for Maya and Jura's alt skins. That the cropping wasn't different at all, any of the positioning. I think that that helps a lot to actually visually compare the outfits very quickly. That's going to do it for the Christmas event. Now on to the slightly bigger and slightly more involved Valentine's event, which also recently passed, but a lot more recently. So yeah, Valentine's 2025. First off is another fresh Nord character and also fresh Nord character alt skin. I don't think this is for Yuzuki, the Christmas cake Kuchisake Onna that we covered last time actually in episode. Oh wait, no, it was episode 106. We covered her. A very solid character with big booba and an unfortunate curse that you got to work around. And spoiler, that's going to be part of the romance with her. If you choose to romance her in this Valentine's context, there's no getting away from it. But the outfit itself is all new, and I don't think she's even on main roster yet, is she?
She's not. She at the time of recording, she's fully sponsored, but I just haven't made that final push yet.
Normally, I'm disapproving of alt costumes being given to testing roster characters, but she was pretty solid. You did a nice job with her. I don't have any doubts that you're going to cross the finish line.
Well, good, because she already has another costume, which is her office outfit.
That's true. I guess we could talk about both. I did not play with the office skin yet, but we can briefly mention it as well. You can put it in the visuals of the episode if you want to post it.
Yeah, I just want to quickly shout out our Kisake artist Nomlet for making both of these costumes and all layers for them. Obviously, it's my own character, so I know how to do all the posing, but he went through the effort of making all of the actual, outfit. I will admit that the Valentine's one was a little difficult to pose because every single layer is sort of stacked on top of one another, which means it lags Kisake to shit. And I specifically asked when he made the office outfit, please, split up the model into separate layers so that this doesn't happen again, and he kindly obliged. For the Valentine's one, I'll let you give your thoughts on, obviously, but I really just wanted to go with something a bit more, well, obviously, mature, I think a nice purple dress, a bit of jewelry, and I have forgotten what it is called, the bolero. Bolero, whatever it's the short over jacket that she wears.
The bolero fire.
But yeah, I think it's a good outfit. When she hits main, I'll maybe, or not when she hits main, but I think for next year I'll definitely consider making this an unlockable costume if you play with it during the event. Give it a hidden collectible. But what did both of you think?
Well, before I give my answer, she did leave the scissors at home, right?
Yes.
Okay, she's very pretty. Just, you gotta make sure when you're dealing with her. But I absolutely love the outfit. You said Nam did all this. He did an incredible job. Really love the necklace and the bracelet. That's a very nice touch. The bows on the shoes was really good, and it's definitely an outfit that perfectly encapsulates the character that you've created here. Honestly, if it didn't say original right on the screen, I would have believed this was from something, because it is a fully fleshed out 3-dimensional character. I definitely love the idea of having this outfit unlocked year round if you play with her on Valentine's Day. The lingerie in particular was actually a really great choice. Very detailed, well designed. I almost want to ask how long it took to, do all the roses on there. It might have just been an overlay, but
Oh no! Part of why this lagged Kisake so much is that is made up of like 100 individually placed ribbons.
Oh goodness!
Flower shape. Noblet is crazy.
You mad lad!
I thought it was a pipeline.
Yeah, you could have done just a pipeline. Goodness! No wonder this.
I thought Nomlet was on the hairpiece grind now.
Is there a rose hairpiece? I haven't.
There ain't no rose hairpiece. He specifically.
I'm just saying that's like his new shtick that he's proselytizing to all of us, that you use hair for everything.
I must confess, I have an ongoing joking feud with him about the use of hair pieces for things other than hair. And yet I, hypocrite that I am, was totally okay with him using some of those techniques for her office outfit and for the, parts of the dress for her Valentine's one.
What inspired this costume in particular? Why these choices?
Just in general, I got together a lot more mature-looking outfit ideas. I don't really have any way to properly explain it, other than I just tried to go for a look that a lot of the younger characters on the roster wear a lot more cutesy outfits for Valentine's. For her, I wanted it to look more mature, more refined. This is definitely. I think I've written dialogue where she mentions it, where it's very much her treating herself. This is sort of what she would probably wear to formal parties or something like that. There was no one specific source of inspiration. It was just finding a bunch of different, pieces of the outfit, looking online.
7 Granddad, did you have any other input?
Not in particular, no.
Well, then let me say my piece real quick. First off, I like the office Onryo alliteration. I think all of her alt costume names should do that. For example, the default is actually this is called I no Yūrei, which means love ghost. That's fine. But Onryo, that word is also used in her default skin. I think you should change the default to something like casual kuchisake.
I'll do that right now then, actually.
Glad to pitch in. I'm always good at naming these costumes. On a repeat playthrough, her politeness was very pleasant. That Japanese politeness, also kind of related to emergence. It's always funny when you read the afterword of a doujin or something, where it's the most fucked up shit ever, and then the writer's just please continue to support me at the next comic hit. I had to work really hard on this, and I lost some sleep, and getting that across, that tone across in Yuzuki as well. She's just a very polite and pleasant presence. She didn't have a ton of alt skin lines, but there was at least a little bit about the Valentine's Day date stuff, and everything else. I mean, it pretty much applies to either skin, so I don't think she needed a whole lot. And because she's an original character, you probably don't want to sacrifice too much of the context, right? You want her to explain the curse.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave that up to chance, because it's just oh, it's an event. Who's this character?
Yeah, there's certain lines that you pretty much always have to say, either generically or, with the initial stage 0, stage 1 targeting. Because she's an original character, that's just sort of like a concession, because you can't Google who she is beforehand. I remember writing dialogue specifically of her talking about her outfit at different stages. Like, she points out that, she spent
It's there.
a large amount of money on underwear that no one has ever seen.
It's definitely there. Other things I want to point out. It was mentioned already, but yeah, that gorgeous patterning on her lingerie is very impressive. I really did think it was a pipeline. I want to point out her big booba pose that I wrote down. That's how I wrote it down. I don't know what it's called, but it's the one where she kind of lifts them up and pushes them together as a gambit to distract you. Ah, here it is. It's called lifting. I'm sure that's in the default skin as well, but I really noticed it this time, and nice custom work with the arms and everything.
Yeah.
Shame about the mouth. But you like what you like. And I played her with Monika because her Valentine's costume, I love her yandere line. I don't tend to like yanderes, so I'm vibing with her on this one. And this is the first time I've seen it in game. In general, I just have to say, very little to criticize, but especially in this context, she has such a lewd body, doesn't she? It's tight clothes and the little bits of flab poking out. I like the little extra bit on her hips, and even some butt fangs, although I think those might be the defaults. You could say she's got a wide thigh gap. It's very, very sexy character overall. I'm glad that didn't get lost alongside everything else. I mean, I guess it is a character that just combines a lot of things that personally appeal to you, so it makes sense that she'd be very sexy. But yeah, great character, great skin. Can't wait to see her on main.
Those butt fangs aren't defaults. I remember putting them in there.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
Just for you. Nomlet has carried this event a little bit as we go on to the next costume.
Oh, did he make this one as well?
Yes, him and Spaceman did this in a bit of crunch time for Cavendish, if you want to introduce it.
Sure. Well, this is actually, I mentioned Jura, Santa Jura, in the Christmas event, and Maya's in the Valentine's event as well. She has a very old costume. It's been in the game since 2018, and it's gone through a couple model revisions, Cupid Maya. And Giffany here, or is it Giffany? Giffany Monika, a character. Is that a character from Gravity Falls? Who is that?
It is.
It is a character from Gravity Falls.
So how is it pronounced there?
I believe it is Giffany.
So Giffany Monika here, Monika Love Bug. She sort of has like a computing motif going on, but she's cosplaying as this character, and this has been in the game for a long time as well. I'm not sure exactly how long, but it's gone through some revisions, I think, or maybe it was just left to rot for a while. Either way, I believe this makes all three of her alt skins fully updated to the recent model rework she got. And boy, is it a beaut. Nor did you have any other context you wanted to share about it?
One of the obvious things is that later on she ditches the Giffany look and becomes Gasai. I don't remember what the original context of that happening was, but I see they've kept it here. I think both Spaceman and Nomlet did a very good job getting her ready in time, considering I think there was only a few weeks left before the event, before they were able to get started on it. I myself had soft promised Cav to do it, like I did for her Halloween outfit and the summer one, but I was too busy at the time. So thankfully, Nomlet and Spaceman stepped up.
7 Granddad. I don't know how big of a Monika fan you are. She is pretty popular in general. But what was your experience with Giffany Monika here, the Love Bug?
Oh, I certainly loved the outfit. It's definitely, it's a cosplay, but it's a very accurate cosplay. The ribbon, the outfit, head to toe, even the wig is definitely accurate to Giffany. From my handfuls of playthroughs with it, she doesn't seem to have a whole lot of unique dialogue based around how she's cosplaying Giffany. I think she just has maybe one or two lines addressing it, and then the rest of it is just Monika, pun intended.
Just Monika.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to see a bit more additional content in terms of the dialogue. I am a content designer first, so paying attention to dialogue is one of the first things I always jump to whenever I, look at characters such as this. And there's nothing wrong with the base dialogue. It is well written, but I kind of wanted to see more since this isn't the base outfit, if that makes sense.
I noticed a lot of computing puns and metaphors. I think that's the main thing that she does that she doesn't normally do.
No, I think that's a normal one. I remember her saying, I think it was she maybe had like a slight overhaul of her writing like months or years ago now, where she got more of those sorts of puns.
Shows what I know. Listen, I'm not the greatest Monika fan. I'm gonna admit it. I feel like I probably clarify that every time we talk, which is a shame. She's really well done. But Seven Granddad, any other thoughts?
Honestly, no, that's about it. Again, I love the outfit. Did a very excellent job with, making her look like Giffany, or at least Monika dressed as Giffany. And again, you don't really have to, go as hard on the references to the Valentine's Day event or even just the outfit in particular. It's legitimately just an outfit. I like the reference to the fact that it isn't just hair dye. She is wearing a wig, and she has her real hair underneath all the Giffany cosplay. Especially love the work that you did on the twin tails. But other than that, I think that's about everything I have to say on the topic. Like you, Spanon, I am not a huge, Monika fan, but yeah, I think I've said everything I have to say on the topic.
All right, well, Nort, take it away.
I can't believe you're both so fake. Monika is best girl. I think it turned out really well.
I haven't even played DDLC, I don't care.
I think it turned out really well.
She killed 3 of her classmates.
Is it really killing if you're all in a...
Oh, what? I did that too.
Is it really killing if all of you know that you're in a simulation? But I think this turned out really well. Her modern art in general is really high quality, so it's good to see that they were able to keep the standard of quality with this outfit. Obviously, it's no easy task when you have a costume, especially an event costume, that changes all of the stages, which requires a complete overhaul of all the art. So I'm glad that they were able to keep that in a sense. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like they did a good. They did really well. I still don't really know what the deal is with her, being Gasai in her later stages. I've never watched that series.
I don't even know what that is.
But I know that she's another. Gasai is another yandere. There's some.
Should have known.
Like horror, some horror comedy. She's a main character in. I think there's been jokes that people could have made Giffany first instead of Monika, because Giffany predates Monika by several years. But I don't see Giffany. I don't see Gasai. Just see Monika.
Just Monika.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, of her 3 alt skin updates, I'd say this is definitely the most ambitious because of all the changes, especially to the hair and how that carries through all the stages, and even changes because, you know, she's got the one hairstyle and then she goes to a totally different hairstyle with the sort of the messier look, which I appreciate. You know, I like it when alt skins go further and change things about the basic character model. You know, that takes a lot of effort and it makes them really stand out. So I appreciate the effort that went into that. There's a beautiful lighting and patterning on the skirt and on the bow and the bunching on her shirt as well. It's all very impressive. Same guy, Nom, so not surprised. And credit to Spaceman as well. I didn't even know he was doing stuff. I thought he was on a bit of a sabbatical, but I guess inspiration struck. Let's see. She even has a bit of a Godiva hair thing going on, which I'm not particularly into, but I bring it up every happens where the strands of her hair come down and cover her nipples. Because I don't know, I just think I think it's neat. It happens often enough that's like a thing that you can kind of work with. Because it's like, oh, I'm gonna hide them a little bit more from you. You know, it's a teasing thing going on. I mean, Jura does it, so kind of like with Maya and her bangs flipping back and forth. Once I have to do something, I notice it in every other character. Nord posted her butt. It's a good butt, but I'm going to introduce a bit of criticism that I'm going to repeat a lot in the next episode, which her bare butt needs some deeper shading. I don't know why. I don't know how this got in style where we all just shade the butts like dinner plates, but they should be like spheres, all right? No, that shadow needs to be deep. Needs to go like halfway up the cheek. Come on now. Don't hold out on me. I don't think you're trying to give her a flat butt. So I don't know what the appeal is. I don't know why people keep doing this. It's just not a butt-loving culture around here. Okay, I gotta fly that flag myself. Again, I'm not sure if she always had so many computing puns or metaphors. Maybe it's just a recent update in general. I thought it was a GIF-any thing. It kind of made sense. She's named after a file name or a file type. And I'm going to introduce another piece of criticism that I will repeat next episode and for other characters, which I didn't really notice she was close when she was about to come. I must say, I feel like you should vary up the posing a little bit more, do something a little more extreme to visually communicate that they're close. But enough about Monika. She makes everything about herself. Good costume overall, though. Very, very visually impressive. Either of you have any final thoughts on any of these alt costumes that we talked about?
Nothing that hasn't already been said.
Yeah.
I will point out that Ochako / Pro Hero Uravity got a Valentine's costume update as well, because she got a model update in general. But we're going to talk about that more in depth in a future episode, so we're just going to mention it here that yes, her Valentine's costume with the pom-poms and the cheerleader outfit is one that also got updated to the same level of quality. And the art update itself is very high quality, so it's appreciated that they went through the extra effort of updating that as well. A lot of alt skins, or old alt skins, just kind of languish when the base model gets updated. It looks very good, though. I don't think I said a lot about that alt skin in particular, other than that the discarded pom-poms just floating there when she dropped them was pretty funny. Everything else is more or less for the main costume and just the art update in general, which, as I said, was very high quality. Do either of you have anything specific to say about that Valentine's costume? Seven Granddad, did you?
The only thing I really have to say is, as much as I love it whenever an older model gets a new coat of paint to match the quality of the newer models, I also love it whenever the alt outfits also get the exact same lovely treatment. So good job on not forgetting about the alt costumes.
I would agree. Sometimes when a model gets updated, a costume just gets forgotten about, so it's good to see for both of them that their costumes have gotten the proper treatment and are, as good as they are.
Well then, that's going to do it for the 5 event costumes that we had to catch up on. Sorry this took so long, but that just tends to happen over the new year. And we have one little extra bit of catching up to do, which is a main roster addition. I mentioned the resort in the introduction to this episode. We're actually going to cover that next time. I think that'll space out the run times a bit better. So we're going to move on to the single solitary, and I believe first 2025 main roster character. Maybe it was 2024. I'd have to check real quick. Main roster addition to the game, which was Aoi Asahina from Danganronpa. Again, I'd have to check. Is it 2?
No, it's 1 actually. The very
she's from the first one because I think she knew Kyouko, and Kyoko's from the first game. She's the ultimate swimmer, a character by Ace who has unfortunately fallen into a disgrace. He's not on the social server anymore. He had a falling out, to put it lightly, an incident. But he is still around developing and adding lines to her. So we're going to try not to have that color or perception of her and just focus on the quality of the character herself. But yeah, tanned, swimming-loving, donut-loving tomboy in a murder mystery. 7 Granddad, what did you think of Aoi Asahina?
Well, to start off, the art looks exactly as it does in the Danganronpa game, so kudos to that. It's pretty difficult to actually get the Kisake models to look, source accurate, but the fact that the developer was able to successfully pull it off for Aoi was nothing short of spectacular. I noticed that during the test game that I ran with her, I was able to unlock the leg band collectible even though I didn't actually win that game, even though the description says it should only unlock when the player wins, so you'll want to try to fix that as soon as possible. Overall, I do love the character's personality. I may not have actually played the Danganronpa games myself, so I can't actually say for certain whether the character is accurate, but I can definitely say that you've done a fine job with the personality. I definitely enjoy myself a sporty tomboy. My apologies.
Chris Chan is a tom girl.
Yeah. Oh goodness, definitely not a fan of that. But yeah, not a whole lot to say. I wasn't around for the controversy, so I'm just trying to remain as professional as I can about this, able to look at the character with a fresh set of eyes without knowing any of the backstory behind whatever happened to Ace, what he did, and
we don't need to dwell on it.
Let's not dwell on it. This is about Aoi the character and how she's portrayed in SPNatI, and personally, I enjoy how she's portrayed in SPNatI. I believe he's done a very fine job with her. Don't have a whole lot more to say on the subject.
Prior to recording, Nord indicated to me that he might go on a bit of a rant, a bit of a call-out post. For the character, I should stress, not the developer. Longtime fans may remember when he went off on Lot in a similar vein. I'm personally hoping for that. Let's see if he keeps himself in check. Nord, what did you think of Aoi?
The thing about Aoi is that I just don't have the energy to go through everything wrong with her or wrong with her developer. Anyone can ask for my opinion on the developer in private if they want. But for the sake of this podcast, just going through Aoi, I did play a test game with her yesterday while I was in a relatively decent mood from having been, had a very productive day. So I was in a more upbeat mood than I would normally have been playing, with her. The most damning thing I can really say is that I think she's just bland. I can understand where Granddad was coming from with some of the positive aspects, but having like I'm trying to see this from the perspective of someone who like really knows and loves the character, and it's honestly very similar to what I would have said for Taya Gardner, where if you really know the character and you compare them to other Danganronpa characters, like Kyouko Kirigiri, and when you like get over the initial wow factor of wow, I get to play with one of my favorite characters in this game too, that's nice, I think you would just realize that she's a bit shallow. Like, in my one test game, I saw a couple of repeating lines, and just having been here so long, I can very much feel whenever a line is just sort of checking a box that someone has given. Whenever you go through the SPNatI sponsorship process, something that you're supposed to do as a developer is like take what people are critiquing and learn from it going forward with what you're writing. Whereas what's happened with Aoi is there's just a bunch of lines that are there like very clearly to check off, like, oh, a sponsorship requirement has requested she talk about this, in at least 5 lines, so here's 5 lines of dialogue talking about that. I'm trying to be polite about this, but there's no real way around it. With everything about Aoi, it very much feels like the bare minimum has been put across the finish line, and now that she's on me and she's just bland. Like, I am someone who very much likes sporty, athletic girls, and Aoi should hit a lot of buttons for me, but even putting aside all of the personal drama with the developer, I just don't see any appeal in Aoi. And honestly, it says a lot that I'm actually a bit worried about playing Danganronpa, for the first time, and encountering her and seeing her in the story, and then finding out how much worse she is than I probably think she's been done. But she's not... It's one of those damning things where she's not offensively bad, she's just boring, to me personally. Having, been here for like nearly 4 years and being up my own non-existent ass about this. So yeah, that's my thoughts of her. She's just whatever to me. And sometimes it's worse to be bland than it is to be, bad in a way that people can at least chuckle at.
Ace was a developer, kind of kept making similar projects. Similar sporty-ish, tomboy-ish girls. First, Chie from Persona, who died on testing, and Taya, who was kind of bland and just merely serviceable, who did make it to main, and then Aoi here, who I think kind of in a similar situation is a serviceable but not spectacular character. And when you get wrapped up in controversy, I think people are going to be a lot less charitable to mediocrity. For once, I'm gonna play maybe not good cop, but middling cop, because I do think Aoi has some appeal just on the character archetype alone and the fairly detailed art. Tan, cheerful tomboy obviously has its appeal, and I think that's at least somewhat captured. Compared to when we first talked about her on testing, she felt relatively unchanged. She had some targets and some other blind spots. A lot of our targets were better, but some generics were still kind of cliched. She had some stuff about, it's lonely at the top, being the ultimate swimmer or whatever. So just contributing to kind of that bland feeling, some of those generics. Her hair is still kind of stiff. Her ponytail, I think, doesn't flip at all. It doesn't move at all. Her neck is still a little bit too long, maybe. Although I guess it's kind of long in the source material as well. She remains kind of weirdly naive about sex and masturbation. I don't remember exactly what she said because I tested her a little while ago. but it's something that I'm actually going to talk about with a character on the next episode as well. But yeah, just being totally naive about masturbation. It's like, ooh, if I use this finger or whatever. It's a little weird and almost feels kind of infantilizing and predatory. It's not to say it never happens in real life, or that people aren't naive about their own bodies, but for someone who for like Aoi, who presumably is quite in tune with her body, competing physically in sporting events, you'd think she'd be more accustomed to it. There's definitely appeal here. Not all of it was realized. There's bits about her worrying about her love of donuts or her femininity. You could do a little bit more with that. Overall, though, at the end of the day, a lot like Taya, she's serviceable, and I think she has a little bit more basic appeal than Taya does, just on a premise level. She's okay. I will say, not only Ace, but she just attracts weirdos in general, apparently. I found this gif of her on tenor with a weird-ass windmill and Five Nights at Freddy's character. I don't even know which one this is. Must be one of the newer ones.
But that's Bonnie from the second one with no face.
Okay, then. I don't know what she's doing there.
Withered Bonnie. I have no idea what he's doing there either. I have no idea what the windmill is. The heart lightings scare me. Like, I don't like what that's implying. Definitely a weird gif you fished out for us.
Did we mention the weirdo that came in and threatened if we didn't remove her from the game? Because I think this is a gif by the same guy.
If you thought, it probably is, honestly. If you thought that was bad, yeah, we got some kind of notorious lolcow or something who's on a personal crusade to claim Aoi and also I think Fluttershy for himself. And he's an open Nazi and posted edits of her in SS uniforms and shit and violently spamming gore and seeking out Ace, I think, to execute him for daring to claim his personal waifu Aoi, which I will say the controversy with Ace still leaves him in better standing than a Nazi.
Well,
so
categorically, I think no one should have to suffer a literal Nazi claiming their waifu and spamming gore. Apart from all of that, I just want to say I don't really have any sympathy for Ace because at the end of the day, he did do something. He did misbehave, and then he doubled and tripled down on his behavior and very clearly was not sorry, and then made a goodbye post and then didn't actually leave. Ace, if you're listening, Ace, I don't know if this is going to be kept in the episode. Ace, if you're listening to this, look, we just don't like you, man.
Maybe it's time for us to just leave.
Where's the door?
Ignoring that, please try all these alt costumes. Download the game offline. Play without the drama of Discord and Reddit and everything in between. Play the alt costumes, even give Aoi a try, and definitely give Maya's new butt poses a try. That's the most important thing. Thanks for coming on, Seven Granddad, and thanks for coming on, as always, Nord. Do either of you have any final comments or anything you'd like to point out before we sign off for the episode?
Granddad? Flintstones?
Flintstones?
Yeah.
No?
No, we don't have anything else.